Before we begin, take a breath. Feel the air moving in and out. You are not your thoughts, not your past, not even the story that brought you here. If this moment feels quiet, that is not emptiness, it is space. And in that space, you begin to wake up. If you wish to explore this depth of awareness, to live from stillness rather than from noise, subscribe, and let us journey into the now together. There is a silence that lives underneath the noise. It has always been there. It is not a silence that is empty. It is a silence that is full. It is the canvas upon which the sounds of your life are painted, the hurried thoughts, the echoes of yesterday, the anxious whispers of tomorrow. For so long, you have been captivated by the painting, lost in the drama of its colors and forms, so much so that you have forgotten the canvas itself. You have mistaken the fleeting images for who you are. The mind is a relentless storyteller, weaving narratives of success and failure, of love and loss, of what should have been and what must be. It creates a character, a protagonist in a story called My Life, and you have come to believe that you are this character. This character has a name, a history, a collection of memories and ambitions. It carries burdens from the past and anxieties about the future. It is a construct of thought, a phantom built from the incessant chatter of the mind. And this phantom, this ego, feels solid. It feels like you. It speaks with your voice, it feels with your heart, and it fears its own demise above all else. Its greatest fear is stillness, for in true stillness, the storyteller falls silent. In the quiet space between two thoughts, the phantom dissolves, and what remains is simply awareness. Presence. The silent, witnessing consciousness that you are. This awakening is not an event, it is a recognition. It is the moment you stop looking for yourself in the mirror of your thoughts, and instead feel the living presence that is looking through your eyes. It is a gentle turning inward, a shift from the noise of thinking to the silent hum of being. Feel the life in your hands, the subtle energy that animates your body. Feel the rhythm of your breath, the anchor that holds you in the only moment there ever is, now. This is not a concept to be understood, but a reality to be felt. The mind will try to grasp it, to label it, to turn it into another story, another goal to be achieved. But you cannot achieve what you already are. You can only cease to be what you are not. Let the noise of the world continue. Let the thoughts come and go like clouds in a vast, open sky. You are the sky, not the clouds. You are the stillness that holds the storm and the sunshine, unchanging, ever present. This is the beginning of the end of suffering. Suffering is not caused by the events of your life, but by your identification with the mind's interpretation of those events. When you believe every thought, you become a prisoner of your own story. But when you recognize thought as just thought, you are free. You awaken to the vast, silent space of your true nature. The mind builds its house with the bricks of yesterday and the blueprints of tomorrow. It is a fortress of identity, designed to protect the fragile self, the me, that feels so separate, so vulnerable in a vast and unpredictable universe. This me is a collection of stories. I am what happened to me. I am my achievements. I am my failures. I am what others think of me. Each thought, each label, adds another stone to the wall, creating a sense of solidity, a definition to cling to. The ego thrives on this definition. It needs problems to solve, enemies to fight, and dramas to enact. Without them, it has no role to play, no story to tell. It feeds on resistance. When you resist what is, you are feeding the ego. When you argue with reality, you are strengthening the prison walls of your own mind. You say, "This should not be happening." And in that moment, you create a conflict between the mind's demand and the isness of life. This conflict is the source of all inner turmoil. It is the friction that generates the heat of anger, the chill of sorrow, the tremor of anxiety. The ego convinces you that your happiness lies in the future, once you have achieved this or acquired that. It creates a perpetual state of wanting, of lack. You are always on your way to somewhere else, never fully arriving where you are. The present moment is reduced to a mere stepping stone, a means to an end. But life is only ever now. The future you are striving for is a phantom created by your mind. It never arrives. When the future comes, it comes as the now. And if you are always looking ahead, you will miss the only reality there is. The ego also identifies with form. It attaches itself to possessions, relationships, social status, and even spiritual knowledge. This is my car. This is my partner. This is my belief. The sense of my strengthens the sense of I. And when these forms are threatened, when they change or disappear, as all forms eventually do, the ego experiences a profound sense of loss, a diminishment of self. This is the root of fear. The fear of losing what you have, the fear of not getting what you want. It is the fear of the ego's own dissolution. But you are not the forms. You are the formless awareness that perceives the forms. The attachment is not love, it is the ego's need for security. True love does not cling. It does not possess. True love is the recognition of the formless essence in another, the same essence that is in you. It is a connection in being, beyond the stories and the labels. Look closely at the patterns of your mind. Observe the repetitive thoughts, the emotional reactions, the compulsive need to judge, to compare, to complain. Do not judge the judging. Simply watch. Become the silent witness. As you watch, you begin to create a space between the observer and the observed. In that space lies your freedom. The voice in your head that never stops talking is not you. The emotions that sweep through you are not you. They are events happening within your field of awareness. You are the space in which they happen. When a thought of anger arises, you can observe it. There is anger. You are not the anger. You are the awareness that is aware of the anger. In this simple act of witnessing, the identification is broken. The anger loses its power over you. It is just energy passing through. Without the fuel of your identification, it dissolves back into the stillness from which it came. This is not a cold detachment. It is a compassionate disidentification. You are not detaching from life. You are detaching from the mind's painful and distorted interpretation of life. You are finally free to experience life directly, without the filter of the past, without the screen of judgment. You begin to feel a deep, underlying peace that is not dependent on circumstances. It is the peace of your own presence. A quiet shift begins to happen, not as an effort, but as a grace. It often comes not in a moment of triumph, but in a moment of surrender. It can happen when the mind has exhausted itself, when the struggle becomes too much to bear, when all the strategies of the ego have failed. Perhaps you are sitting in a quiet room, the weight of a long day settling in your bones. The mind is still running, replaying conversations, worrying about tomorrow, churning with the usual anxieties. But something is different. There is a weariness, not just of the body, but of the struggle itself. A thought arises, heavy with self-criticism. I am failing at this. I cannot find peace. And in the past, this thought would have triggered a cascade of other thoughts, a spiral of despair. But now something else happens. For a fleeting instant, the thought is just seen. It is heard not as an ultimate truth, but as a sound, a vibration in the vast space of consciousness. The thought says, I am failing, and the awareness behind the thought simply notes its presence. It does not argue. It does not agree. It just watches. And in that gap, that tiny pause between the thought and the reaction to the thought, everything changes. A profound stillness blooms in that space. In that moment of pure observation, you realize, if I can watch the thought, if I can be aware of the feeling of failure, then who is the I that is watching? Who is this silent witness? This question is not meant to be answered by the mind. The mind can only offer more concepts, more labels. The answer is a felt realization. It is a sudden expansion of your sense of self. The I that you thought you were, the character in the story, the bundle of memories and fears, is seen for what it is, a product of thought. And you realize that you are not the product of thought. You are the awareness in which the thought appears. It is as if you have been watching a movie your whole life, completely engrossed in the protagonist's struggles, feeling every joy and every sorrow as your own. And then suddenly, you become aware that you are in a cinema. You are the consciousness watching the screen. The drama on the screen is still happening, but it is no longer all that you are. A sense of profound peace descends. The struggle ceases, because the one who was struggling is seen to be an illusion. The search ends, because the one who was searching has realized they were already home. This is not an intellectual understanding. It is a visceral shift in perception. The world does not change, but your relationship to it is utterly transformed. The sound of a bird singing outside the window is no longer just a sound. It is heard in a field of profound stillness. The feeling of the air on your skin is no longer a background sensation. It is a vibrant, living reality. You are no longer trapped in the narrow confines of your personal story. You have awakened to the vast, boundless ocean of life itself. The waves of thought and emotion still come and go, but you are no longer a small boat tossed about by them. You are the ocean. The joy that arises is not the fleeting pleasure of the ego getting what it wants. It is the deep, quiet joy of being. The peace that is felt is not the absence of noise, but the presence of a stillness that underlies all noise. This is the turning point. It is the awakening from the dream of form. It is the moment you remember who you are, beneath the mask of personality, beneath the noise of the mind. You are the silent, spacious presence of awareness itself. And then you simply let it be. After the peak of realization, there is no need to cling to it, no need to try to recreate it. The mind will want to. It will say, "That was it. How do I get it back?" But the very effort to get it back pushes it away. The realization was not an achievement, it was an act of surrender. And so, the path forward is one of continued surrender. You surrender to this moment, just as it is. You let go of the need for anything to be different. The narrative quiets down. The need to understand, to analyze, to figure everything out begins to dissolve. There is a new trust, not in a future outcome, but in the intelligence of life itself, which is happening now. You breathe. And in the breath, you find a profound simplicity. The in-breath is the receiving of life. The out-breath is the letting go. Each breath is a cycle of surrender. You allow your attention to rest in the inner energy field of the body. You feel the aliveness in your hands, your feet, your chest. This is your anchor in the now. When the mind pulls you back into the past or the future, you gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to the feeling of being alive in this moment. There is a deep acceptance of what is. This does not mean passivity or resignation. It is the recognition that this moment is already as it is. Fighting it is futile and painful. By accepting the isness of the now, you become aligned with the power and intelligence of life itself. From this place of alignment, wise and appropriate action can arise, not from a place of reactive fear or desire, but from a deep inner stillness. The world may continue its dance of chaos and creation, but you have found a place of profound rest within. It is a stillness that is not static. It is vibrantly alive. It is the source of all creativity, all true intelligence, all love. You begin to see the world through the eyes of awareness rather than the eyes of the ego. You see the same formless essence, the same consciousness, looking out at you from behind every pair of eyes, from within every tree, every flower, every stone. The sense of separation dissolves. You are not a fragment in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. The quiet joy of this recognition is beyond words. It is a peace that the mind cannot comprehend. It is the end of seeking and the beginning of truly living. You don't need to go to a remote mountain top to find this peace. It is here, now, in the midst of your ordinary life. It is in the space between your thoughts, in the stillness beneath the surface of your emotions. You are no longer waiting for the next moment to save you. You are no longer looking for happiness in people, places, or things. You have found that what you were looking for is who you are. The story of me continues to play out on the surface, but it is no longer who you are. It is just what is happening. Your true identity is the silent, formless, timeless presence that witnesses it all. This awareness is not a distant, esoteric state to be attained. It is a way of being in the world. It is about bringing the stillness you have touched into the fabric of your daily life. It is about washing the dishes with presence. It is about listening to another person not just with your ears, but with your entire being, without the inner commentary of your mind. It is about feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin and truly being there for that sensation. Life then becomes a meditation. Every moment is an invitation to be present. The challenges do not disappear. There will still be difficult situations, painful emotions, and the demands of the world. But your relationship to them has changed. You meet them not from a place of reactive ego, but from the spaciousness of awareness. When an old emotional pattern arises, anger, fear, sadness, you do not resist it. You do not let it become your identity. You allow it to be there, as a wave of energy passing through your field of awareness. You hold it in a space of compassionate acceptance, and in that holding it transforms. It is no longer a source of suffering, but an opportunity for deeper presence. You find that true intelligence flows not from the accumulation of knowledge, but from the stillness of your consciousness. When you are present, you have access to a deeper wisdom that is not of the mind. Solutions to problems appear effortlessly. Creative insights arise from a place beyond thought. Your actions become infused with a quality of care and attention that is deeply fulfilling. You no longer act out of a need to prove yourself or to get something for the small me. You act out of a love for the action itself, out of an alignment with the creative unfolding of the universe. This is not about becoming perfect. It is about being perfectly present with your imperfection. It is about embracing the human experience in its totality, the light and the dark, with a gentle, non-judgmental awareness. You are invited to live this way, not as a discipline, but as an ongoing discovery. To find the sacred in the ordinary. to see the timeless in the temporal, to recognize the stillness in the midst of the noise. This is your birthright. It is the home you never left. It is the peace that is always available, waiting patiently beneath the surface of your mind. Simply be here. This moment is enough. You are enough. And now, the words fade, but the silence remains. If you felt the stillness within this message, stay. Subscribe not to follow, but to remember, again and again, that presence is always here, waiting beneath every thought. The true teaching is not in the words you just heard, but in the space between them.